It was the year 1942. Albert Einstein and his assistant were strolling in the garden after having given a set of test papers to a classroom of students. Einstein's assistant pointed out to him that he had given the same set of questions to the same set of students the previous year. To which Einstein replied, "Yes, I am aware of this. The questions remain the same, but the answers have changed." Physics changes its answers to the same problem over and over again. Psychology changes its answers to the same problem over and over again. Biology, anatomy, fitness, astronomy changes its answers to the same problems over and over again. The paradox is there are more answers than questions. Is that why you're here? The old responses to your mistakes aren't working anymore. You need new tactics for new results. You're in search for new answers to your repeated problems. Good. This means the change process has already begun. Before we begin to talk about the repeated mistakes and how to fix them, it's important to understand what stage of neuroticism response our mistake has on us so that you can deal with each mistake appropriately. It's not a one size fits all. Every mistake has its own level of repercussion, certainly the ones that are repeated. And so I have prepared a quick test for you in order to get a score to see where you are at in recognizing your mistakes. Okay? The test is called BEHAVE. It spells out behave. It's meant as a quick mistake checker to keep you in check. So there's 6 quick questions that you need to give a score from 1 to 10 and then add up your score at the end. Okay? So the first question, B for big. Tell me about the magnitude of your mistake. Is it a 1 where you repeatedly don't fill up your gas tank till the last moment or always have your cell phone battery running in red mode? Or are you at a 5 where you constantly make the mistake of overcommitting and then losing the ability and strength to focus, letting your emotions take over in situations where you need to be in control? Carelessness of promises you made to eat healthier, quit drinking, quit smoking, sleeping more. Or is it at a 10? All the above, plus you're constantly returning to the same mistakes like addiction and infidelity. Is your score somewhere in between? Next, E. E for end. How hard is it to end your mistake? How hard is it for you to quit your habit? 10 being you'd rather die, and 1 being it can be stopped with minimal effort. The third question, H for habit. Now, this question is about frequency. If you repeat this mistake every day, it's a 10. And if it was a one-time mistake, it's a 1. Okay? The fourth question, A, acknowledgement. 1 being a highly depressive approach to your mistakes where you believe that everything you do becomes a mistake. You feel you've never made good decisions and you will never make a good decision. I must tell you that the punishment response in this approach is much higher on yourself as well. So let's say a 5 on the scale would be if you feel that this is a common and anyone can make this mistake. You have your moment of regret, you have your moment of apology, and then you move on. Or are you at a 10? 10 on the scale would be the approach in which you would remain completely resilient and justify every mistake that you make. Okay? Next is V, verdict. How much guilt do you receive from this mistake every time you make it? Guilt and not self-blame. Not, oh, I'm always screwing up and I'm always making mistakes, but more like, how could you do that to someone? I'm embarrassed of you. I'm ashamed of you is what you would be telling yourself. So guilt, okay? 10, having no guilt at all, and 1 being the air in your throat gets stuck every time you think about this mistake. And lastly, E, for eager. How eager are you to repair your mistake? 10 being it doesn't matter to you if you can fix your problem or not, and 1 being your life depends on it. I suggest You don't add anything up right now. Have a deep look into the questions again. Change the answers. Be honest and give yourself a true response. If your score is any higher than 36, then you need to really go back to that sheet and see where you can make adjustments. Maybe your commitment at stopping the mistake, or at least being committed to being aware of it. Make some adjustments on that sheet to bring the score under 36. The idea is not for the number to go up, but constantly bring it down, one mistake at a time. Even if you've made big mistakes every single day, which means you have had to score the first two questions at 10 each, even in that situation, your overall score should always be under 30. The ideal score is 13, but as long as you stay under 30, you're still okay. You can get an idea how to keep your mistakes balanced from a sample of the scores on the screen. Now let's look at how do we get these scores down. What's the real sauce to completely omitting mistake repetition? For starters, here's the definition of making a mistake. The first time, it's a mistake. You realize, you learn. The second time, it's not a mistake. It's a choice you made after having learned. So how do you avoid making the same mistakes over and over? It's a three-step process: awareness, action, and acceptance. Sometimes we make the same mistake so many times that we don't realize that it becomes part of our identity. We remain unaware that we're doing something wrong. That is a very dangerous level, especially if the mistakes begin escalating without realization. So, the first thing to do is to get aware about your mistakes. Use your cognitive thinking or your moral compass. Catching yourself in the act is very important. Until you don't identify what the problem is, you can't really change it. Be aware of the reactions of others when you're doing certain things. People won't tell you that you're making a mistake, but they will reveal it to you through their actions. So just be aware, keep your eyes open. Then you take actions to stop these mistakes. What are the actions to stop these mistakes? Number two, take action. It may sound easy or maybe even inconvenient initially. Either way, it has tremendous power. Make your mistakes concrete and unforgettable by writing them down. Whether you consciously chose to make all those mistakes or you slipped, write it down. This will shame you the next time you have to write the same mistake down. Better believe me, this will shame you the next time you have to write the same mistake down. And if you have the time, make a detailed note of the mistakes so that the next time, just the pains of writing the details will keep you away from making this mistake. Let me tell you something. Nothing will change if you do not want it to. Sometimes these sort of exercises seem unrealistic, but it's a choice you have to make. No one's coming to correct your mistake. You have to work on yourself. And if these are the little sheets that are available to you and the little exercises that are available to you, it's your choice to make. So if you are really serious about taking action, make a 5-day journal. Write them fresh within 5 minutes of it happening. I misplaced my keys. I overtipped. I lost my anger. I misjudged. Write it down. Just the mistakes, or at least the ones that you want to correct. Sometimes we make mistakes consciously that we do not want to journal because clearly that something is not working, but you don't know what to do. However, stop doing that and admit to yourself that you're headed for destruction if you continue doing that. Let me give you an example. Maybe you're having financial problems, so you go out drinking. That's not helping. You need to get stronger than that. Maybe you don't know what else to do, but don't do that. Maybe your marriage is a wreck, so you start having an affair with the girl or the guy in the office. That's not helping. You need to get stronger than that. Sure, you don't know what else to do, but don't do that. You have to be in control of your actions and the mistakes that they make you make. Beliefs do not drive actions. Actions drive belief. You may have all the beliefs about what needs to be done, but until you don't take the action, that belief has no value. If you believe you can't change your actions or your thoughts or your luck or your life, then that's the action. Things will never change. But see, here's the thing. Things do change. People do change. Values do change. Intentions, actions, emotions all do change. Habits too do change. Bad habits too do change. So don't get stuck in that rhetorical question. Take action and you too can change things around. The thing about conscious change is it's most of the time, if not all of the time, a shift of habit or personality from darkness to light. And when you make a conscious change, no matter how small, you cannot unchange that. If the change is conscious, if the change is truly for you, if the change has no condition except self evaluation and self repair, then you will never undo that change. How powerful is that? Number three, acceptance that you can change. It's important to be brave. Remain true to your change no matter what your environment or no matter what your peer group. When you have identified a problem you have or a repeated mistake you are making and you can take positive steps to correct that, in that process, take a moment to ask yourself, what is life trying to teach me here? Am I bad? Am I negative? Am I naive perhaps? Am I selfish? What is this trait, this mistake that I want to fix? What is it telling me about who I am? Once you can categorize if that mistake makes you a selfish person or a naive person or whatever sort of person it makes you, then start looking for all the mistakes that selfish people make, mistakes that naive people make. You will identify your other mistakes. The goal is to become better, right? To get rid of as many flaws, right? That's the goal. If your circle of friends don't support you to change for whatever reason, maybe they have the same habits or maybe they try to influence yours. Either way, they don't have faith in change and so they don't have faith in change for you. If that group is not working well with your change, then I suggest you really do give it a consideration of what is more of a priority to you, to your growth, to your evolution. Mistakes are like tiny thorns in your foot. In the beginning, it's uncomfortable, but as much as you keep stepping on it and as much as time goes by, that thorn will go inside of your foot and get consumed inside of you. You'll never feel it again. That's the reality of mistakes. So catch them and pluck them out while you can still see it and feel it. Take the test whenever in doubt if you're making a mistake. Keep the scores low. Take actions on your mistake and remove all the uncomfortable thorns from your life. Be safe, be positive, and keep taking those steps forward.